Think of entire neighborhoods springing up in record time. That's the mind-blowing reality of China's latest quest in Africa. Reports claim they're whipping up 20,000 houses in just 3 days, enough for 100,000 people overnight. Thanks to advanced prefab technology, Chinese builders churn out parts that can be zipped together on-site almost instantly. Could this turbocharged construction plan be the game-changer Africa needs to tackle its massive housing crisis? Rapid construction with prefabrication. Rapid construction through prefabrication has become a game-changer in modern building projects, especially in places where housing shortages are severe. Prefabrication means many parts of a home, such as walls and roofs, are made in a factory before being transported to the site for quick assembly. This technique cuts down both time and labor costs because everything snaps into place like puzzle pieces. In Africa, where millions of people struggle with high housing costs, this method offers a ray of hope. By producing essential components off-site, factories ensure strong, uniform quality control. On-site, local workers can assemble multiple houses in a fraction of the usual time. Reports say that developers manage to construct thousands of new homes within days, thus helping to ease the pressure on crowded cities. These houses often include solar-powered systems and enough space for small families to live comfortably. Another benefit is skill transfer. While Chinese engineers guide the initial building process, African builders learn advanced techniques they can use elsewhere. This fosters job growth and boosts economic activity, as workers earn wages and gain expertise. Critics question the long-term sustainability of such rapid expansion, but many agree it is an exciting development in areas with urgent housing needs. Overall, rapid construction with prefabrication showcases how technology and collaboration can transform struggling urban centers. As more nations see the value of this approach, further innovation could help solve housing crises worldwide. Addressing South Africa's housing crisis. South Africa's housing crisis has grown increasingly urgent due to a rapidly expanding population, limited economic resources, and deep inequalities. Although 3 million homes have been built since 1994, around 14% of the population remains homeless or living in precarious situations. This shortage is made worse by ongoing urban migration as people flock to cities like Johannesburg in search of jobs, only to find too few affordable housing options. At the heart of this struggle is a wide gap between those with stable incomes and those on the lower end of the social ladder who cannot afford rising rental costs. In response, South Africa is exploring innovative partnerships to tackle the crisis. One notable effort comes from a collaboration with Chinese developers using prefabricated building technology. By producing components off-site and transporting them for swift assembly, these projects can address housing gaps at a fraction of traditional construction time. These homes are also designed to be cost-effective, featuring solar power and efficient layouts to keep living expenses low. Moreover, the influx of new building methods offers a chance for skill transfer. Local laborers learn modern construction techniques, boosting the workforce's capabilities and stimulating regional economic growth. Community leaders see this as a potential win-win arrangement, provided long-term sustainability is ensured. By staying aware of potential pitfalls, such as over-reliance on external funding or political complexities, South Africa hopes to harness these new methods to create safe, affordable, and sustainable homes for its people. Affordable housing for low-income families. Affordable housing for low-income families is a major challenge in many countries, including South Africa, where the gap between wealthier and poorer households remains wide. Despite efforts to build millions of new houses since 1994, a large number of families still cannot afford decent accommodations. High construction costs, limited income, and rapid urban growth have all combined to create serious shortages, forcing many people into cramped or substandard living situations. Recent partnerships with Chinese construction firms highlight an interesting path forward, focusing on low-cost, prefabricated housing units that assemble quickly while keeping expenses down. By manufacturing walls and other components in specialized factories, workers simply transport them to the site and fit them together like puzzle pieces. This method not only reduces labor time, but also makes it possible to build homes even in areas with limited resources or challenging terrains. Low-income families benefit because prefabrication cuts down on overall expenses, allowing developers to sell or rent new properties at much more reasonable rates. Moreover, these developments often include eco-friendly designs, such as solar-powered energy systems, to help families save on monthly bills. For local communities, the chance to learn and apply newer building technologies can also lead to better job opportunities and skill advancement. At the same time, concerns remain about ensuring long-term quality and avoiding temporary solutions that might not last. However, by mixing government support, private investments, and grassroots collaboration, South Africa hopes to create a long-term fix. Small yet efficient homes. Small yet efficient homes are catching on worldwide. These compact dwellings pack essential comforts, living area, kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom, into a streamlined footprint. By focusing on clever design, they feel cozy instead of cramped. Families who favor smaller homes save on construction, utility bills, and upkeep, allowing tight budgets to stretch further. This approach also eases environmental impact by using fewer materials. Prefabricated building methods boost this trend, with home components made off-site for easy final assembly. This cuts labor costs and limits waste, while also speeding up the building process. Many small homes come equipped with solar panels, rainwater harvesting, or efficient insulation, further lowering expenses. Such features help families keep monthly bills manageable while living more sustainably. For low-income communities, smaller homes offer real hope. Lower material usage often translates to lower prices, making ownership possible for more people. In South Africa, for instance, Chinese developers use prefabrication to erect entire neighborhoods in days, showing how fast and flexible these projects can be. Local workers then gain new skills, strengthening the region's construction industry. With thoughtful planning, these homes can reduce overcrowding and create safer, more livable communities. Small yet efficient homes also represent a cultural shift. By trimming excess space, residents can focus on what truly matters: well-being, financial security, and community ties. When governments partner with builders to expand these initiatives, entire towns can benefit. Although concerns about long-term durability and infrastructure remain, these modest dwellings have already proven their worth. They stand as a smart option for tackling housing shortages without sacrificing dignity. It's finally time. Boosting local employment. Boosting local employment is essential for fueling economic growth and improving living standards in communities worldwide. When companies invest in skills training, job creation, and fair wages, it creates a ripple effect that uplifts entire regions. In South Africa, large-scale construction projects spearheaded by foreign firms have proven a powerful way to generate thousands of employment opportunities. Chinese developers, for instance, often partner with local authorities to build new homes while offering on-the-job training for workers. This collaboration not only creates immediate jobs, but also fosters lasting expertise in prefabricated and sustainable building methods. Residents who learn these skills can apply them to other local ventures, meaning more stable careers and a stronger marketplace overall. Foreign partnerships also bring new technologies and equipment, which helps modernize local industries and gives them a competitive edge. By prioritizing local hiring, many projects have ensured that as much as 95% of the workforce comes from the community itself. This approach not only allows money to circulate within the area, but also strengthens bonds across cultural and economic lines. When local economies thrive, people can afford better shelter, education, and healthcare, creating a virtuous cycle of progress. In the end, boosting local employment is about more than just putting people to work. It is a recipe for inclusive development. Strong community involvement, fair compensation, and skills training pave the way for stronger economies that can stand on their own. As more global projects invest in local talent, these regions become self-reliant, and the benefits reach far beyond any single construction site. It matters. Larger urban development projects. Larger urban development projects have become crucial for transforming fast-growing regions, especially in areas grappling with housing shortages and limited infrastructure. In South Africa, new city-scale initiatives are taking shape with help from foreign partners, including Chinese developers. One such plan involves building a sprawling metropolis on over 1,600 hectares of land, potentially accommodating around 100,000 residents. By balancing residential neighborhoods with commercial zones, parks, and other amenities, this forward-thinking design aims to offer a healthier, more organized environment than the overcrowded city centers many people flee. Developers expect to complete this massive project within 15 years, backed by billions of dollars in foreign investment. These ambitious undertakings bring several benefits. First, they create new job opportunities for local workers, who receive training in modern construction methods and can later apply these skills to similar ventures. Second, cutting-edge technologies such as prefabricated housing techniques allow for swift yet cost-effective construction, reducing wait times for families in dire need of homes. Third, newly established communities often feature green solutions like solar panels and water-saving systems that can lower utility bills and lighten the environmental footprint. However, large urban projects also spark debate. Critics worry about potential cultural or political influences that foreign investors might exert, as well as the possibility of deepening income inequalities if high-priced developments dominate. To ensure inclusive growth, experts stress the need for transparent planning, equitable job distribution, and ongoing local engagement. Strengthening China-Africa relations. Strengthening China-Africa relations has become a major point of interest over the past 2 decades, driven by large-scale investments and a shared desire for growth. China's role in building critical infrastructure, ranging from roads and railways to massive housing projects, has opened new doors for African countries eager to modernize. In turn, Africa's abundance of natural resources and expanding markets appeals to China's global ambitions, leading to mutually beneficial ties that have only continued to deepen. One key factor behind this growing bond is the focus on construction projects that create jobs, improve living conditions, and transfer vital skills to local workers. By erecting entire cities, modern highways, and energy facilities, Chinese companies help African nations combat long-standing challenges like overcrowding and limited access to electricity. These initiatives also pave the way for greater trade opportunities, cutting travel times for goods and spurring local entrepreneurship. For Africa, this partnership represents a chance to climb the economic ladder, easing urban strain while boosting national productivity. Yet, these relations are not without complications. Some critics call China's influence a form of new colonialism, expressing fears about risky debts and perceived political sway. Nonetheless, many African leaders view collaboration with China as an opportunity to bypass outdated systems and build rapidly for future generations. By securing more robust infrastructure, they hope to attract further investment and empower local communities. Economic growth and skill development. China's large-scale building projects across Africa have fueled fresh levels of economic growth, with new housing benefiting countless local families. By launching major construction ventures in places like South Africa, which badly needs affordable homes, China connects local workers to modern building methods. Prefabricated technologies, for example, reduce construction time while ensuring consistent quality. Through direct mentorship and hands-on experience, Chinese experts share specialized knowledge, thereby raising local skill levels in engineering, logistics, and project management. This exchange of know-how also sparks growth in African industries linked to construction, such as materials manufacturing, transportation, and local services. When local workers learn to create and assemble prefabricated components, they discover new ways of cutting costs and expanding efficiency. Moreover, wages earned on these projects boost household purchasing power, raising demand for everyday products at street markets. Local governments, seeking to attract further investment, typically improve roads and utilities in emerging job hotspots, opening doors for other businesses. Over time, these steps attract more private and public sector partners, forming an upward cycle of development. As more workers become trained in technical fields, entire communities can lift themselves out of poverty. Small to medium enterprises grow around these new skill sets, creating a long-lasting economic foundation. Critics raise valid concerns about dependency or potential exploitation, but many Africans see this collaboration as a pragmatic route to building stronger economies. The key is ensuring transparency and fair labor practices, so both Chinese and African partners emerge stronger. Mixed reactions to China's role. China's growing presence in Africa has stirred a range of responses from local citizens, political leaders, and international observers. Many see clear benefits, like improved roads, new apartments, and increased job openings. Using advanced building techniques, China has helped some African nations close their housing gaps. This quick expansion is welcome in places where millions lack safe and affordable places to live. Moreover, local governments value the transfer of knowledge that comes with these projects, since African workers gain fresh construction and management skills. However, not everyone is pleased. Critics worry that China's rising influence may lead to a new colonialism, giving Beijing too much sway over politics and economies. Debt is another concern, as some African countries could face financial troubles if they cannot repay Chinese loans on time. In addition, local businesses fear that cheaper Chinese imports and labor might undercut them, leaving smaller firms at risk. On top of that, some people question whether large housing projects will fit local culture or mainly serve outside interests. Despite these worries, many believe the positives can outweigh the negatives if managed with honesty and cooperation. To achieve that, African leaders must remain careful when entering sharing deals, setting fair terms that protect national interests. Chinese firms should also respect local needs, hire local workers, and preserve the environment. Ultimately, the outcome depends on balanced partnerships that treat Africa as an equal player, rather than just a target for outside investment. A model for Africa's urbanization. Across Africa, rapid urban growth continues to bring challenges and opportunities. Thousands of people move to cities every day, causing demand for safe and affordable homes to rise. A possible way forward is emerging from China's success in quickly building low-cost housing through prefabrication. This approach stands out for its speed, lower costs, and job-boosting benefits. By making most house parts in factories and transporting them for fast assembly, China's method cuts construction time and helps families move in sooner. In South Africa, for example, developers have shown they can create new neighborhoods in record time, offering homes to people who once had no place to live. This prefabricated model can reshape how Africa addresses its housing crisis. With more multinational deals, African builders gain valuable skills, while local materials can be used to support domestic suppliers. Over time, these projects can spark further growth. When people have stable housing, they spend more money in their communities, which in turn creates jobs and boosts local businesses. City planners also learn to integrate green features like solar power or water-saving systems, making these neighborhoods more sustainable.
Believes Zimbabweans are capable of spearheading game-changing, first-of-a-kind innovations that challenge the world's traditional ways of doing things. President Mnangagwa said no one can take away that capability.
Africa's automotive scene has been undergoing a remarkable transformation, fueled by fresh ideas, impactful technologies, and determined entrepreneurs. Every day, production lines across the continent roll out around 30,000 newly made cars, some of which harness cutting-edge clean energy solutions that challenge traditional boundaries. Among these inspiring innovations is the self-powering vehicle conceptualized by Maxwell Chikumbutso in Zimbabwe.
The vehicle, it uses what we call the microsonic energy device. The microsonic energy device, it is the device that I personally invented in 2009, which harness radio frequencies, converted it into energy.
The goal is clear: provide reliable mobility while reducing costs and fostering homegrown profit. The spark of innovation. In recent years, Africa's automotive industry has captured global attention for its creativity and long-term potential. From newly established plants to inventive pioneers, the continent is showcasing a capacity to produce 30,000 cars a day that meet both local demands and some international export needs. At the heart of this growth lies the craving for mobility solutions that suit Africa's roads, budgets, and environmental goals. Over the past decade, governments and private entities have also channeled more funding into homegrown production, which fostered an environment where brilliant ideas could flourish.
South Africa has announced that it has been ruled out of the bidding for the production of a new model that would have created hundreds of new jobs because of the ongoing strike in the automotive sector.
A prime example of this spark can be found in Zimbabwe, where inventor Maxwell Chikumbutso has unveiled a vehicle that potentially runs on radio waves, thereby removing the need for gas or charging stations.
This is one of Chikumbutso's groundbreaking innovations. He calls it a self-powering electric vehicle, powered entirely by radio waves. This is the first of its kind in the world.
Though many still question how far-reaching this particular concept can become, it highlights a broader drive toward energy independence and self-sufficiency across the continent. In many ways, such ambitious ventures are precisely what ignite people's enthusiasm and cast a spotlight on the unique nature of African innovation. Historically, Africa was seen largely as a market for imported used cars, but that image is undergoing a notable rebrand. Locally made cars, in countries like South Africa, Morocco, Nigeria, and Ghana, have proven that African firms can produce attractive models that satisfy everyday users. Large-scale automotive production has taken root in a range of assembly plants. Some are run by well-known global brands, others are wholly African-based operations. In either case, each factory contributes to the daily tally of 30,000 vehicles hitting the roads. A powerful push behind such progress stems from Africa's young and growing population. Young innovators and technicians are far more open to new approaches than previous generations. They see cars not just as means of transport, but also as symbols of regional development, platforms for personal expression, and stepping stones for future technological leaps. African-made cars speak to a sense of local pride, representing the fact that "Made in Africa" can stand for real quality and forward-thinking design. Investment in R&D centers across the continent has helped set the stage for breakthroughs. For instance, local engineers, whether in Zimbabwe, Kenya, or South Africa, work alongside global experts to refine processes, test new materials, and ensure vehicles meet safety guidelines. This synergy lays the groundwork for achieving a rate of 30,000 cars a day without compromising on reliability. Models emerging from Africa cater to the continent's unique challenges: rougher roads, unpredictable fuel availability when needed, and varying climates. These are often regarded as the tougher tests that shape robust and flexible vehicle designs. Key hubs of production. Producing 30,000 cars a day doesn't hinge on one country alone. Rather, it's the result of many African nations ramping up their engineering and manufacturing. South Africa, for example, has maintained a robust automotive sector for decades, boasting assembly plants for major brands and employing thousands of people. Morocco, too, has grown into a serious automotive export hub, thanks to strategic ties with European manufacturers.
It's about Morocco's booming auto industry. The country's automotive sector has grown from virtually non-existent to Africa's largest in less than 2 decades.
Meanwhile, places like Nigeria and Ghana are focusing on local brands and assembling buses, trucks, and passenger cars. Each of these countries approaches car production with different strengths. South Africa benefits from established infrastructure, a mature supplier base, and a large pool of skilled technicians. Morocco, due in part to its geographical proximity to Europe, has attracted considerable foreign direct investment (FDI). That has led to world-class assembly lines capable of delivering not only domestic supply, but also exporting to various global markets. Meanwhile, Nigeria invests in large-scale bus and truck manufacturing to serve both local and West African trade routes. In Zimbabwe, the story is more youthful, but it's not isolated. Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered car epitomizes the flair for forward-looking designs. Though the idea of obtaining enough energy from radio waves to power a vehicle still raises eyebrows, it has spurred conversations about the bigger possibility of advanced labs and R&D centers in Zimbabwe. The presence of such labs could lead to improved battery technologies, more efficient internal combustion engines, or even new ways of capturing solar or kinetic energy for vehicles. Already, the government's fresh push to support local inventors tries to create a nurturing ecosystem that might lower costs for both producers and end users. These diverse production hubs feed into the 30,000 cars made daily across the continent. Production numbers may be smaller in certain nations compared to established global manufacturers, yet the consistent progress is undeniable. On top of that, many African brands now realize that they can't just replicate foreign models and hope for success. They must tailor their vehicles to local terrain, cultural preferences, and cost parameters. For example, the hot climate in large swaths of the continent means that robust cooling systems, dust-resistant parts, and easy maintenance design are crucial. Another factor boosting production is Africa's strong appetite for community-based mobility. Large families, extensive rural areas, and entrepreneurial ventures all require reliable vans, minibuses, and trucks. This urges factories to churn out sturdy, multi-purpose vehicles day after day. By addressing these real-world requirements, local producers can consistently sell at volume, keep their factories busy, and refine processes to reduce overhead. Collaboration driving growth. One of the biggest lessons from Africa's automotive journey is that collaboration remains essential. Producing cars on a large scale requires more than just a single company's efforts. It demands a network of partnerships uniting creative minds across different fields. For instance, a car might need specialized steel from local mills, plastic moldings from local injection facilities, interior fabrics woven in separate plants, and advanced electronics or onboard systems integrated by yet another facility. Coordinating these moving parts is not a small job. It calls for streamlined communication, trust, and a shared sense of purpose. Major African automobile producers, both homegrown and multinational, understand that they can't flourish in isolation. They must rely on local supply chains so that every step of the production cycle is efficient and cost-effective. Consequently, they collaborate with smaller businesses, often run by young entrepreneurs or families, ensuring that the expertise and profits spread through the community. This not only helps with skill distribution and job creation, but also tightens the region's economic tapestry. In turn, a healthy spread of suppliers encourages even more production, fueling the aim of reaching or surpassing 30,000 cars a day across the continent. Additionally, collaboration extends beyond traditional manufacturing. Research institutions, university labs, and philanthropic foundations all play a part. Maxwell Chikumbutso's team, for example, might work with electronics experts from a different African country to refine the circuits that convert ambient radio waves into usable power. Or maybe a group of mechanical engineering students from Kenya partner with a design firm in Ghana to research new chassis materials that can better handle unpaved roads. When such cross-border or cross-discipline collaborations happen, it leads to faster breakthroughs and speeds up the path from invention to mass production. Part of this synergy involves sharing knowledge about best practices. Take vehicle standardization, for instance. With so many new African automotive brands emerging, there is a risk that varying specs and complicated regulations could hamper growth. By working together, and sometimes with government bodies, automakers can create guidelines that ensure safety, consistency, and simpler cross-border trade. An example might be that all producers follow a standardized crash test procedure or adopt common specifications for seatbelts, windshields, or lighting. This uniformity helps reduce confusion in the supply chain and makes it easier for factories to ramp up output, free of the friction that arises from too many product variations. Embracing environmentally friendly solutions. While the traditional auto industry can bring many benefits, it also raises concerns about pollution, emissions, and resource depletion. Africa finds itself at a pivotal moment, expanding manufacturing capacities while also grappling with climate change concerns. This balance has led to a dynamic shift in thinking about new, cleaner ways to power vehicles. And that's precisely where inventions like Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered car fit into the broader narrative, exploring truly groundbreaking technologies that might allow Africa to leapfrog conventional, polluting models. In the mainstream, Africa is also seeing growth in electric vehicles. Some factories are pivoting to produce battery-powered cars or buses, mindful that global markets and environmentally aware African consumers are turning increasingly toward sustainable transport. By adopting or even refining existing technology, local producers can reduce their carbon footprint. Many nations are rolling out new charging networks in major cities, often powered by renewable energy like solar or hydropower. This synergy between green energy sources and electric mobility signals a new era where African cities and towns could skip the heavy reliance on oil-based solutions. Yet the self-powering design from Zimbabwe stands out as a visionary approach. Instead of needing a large battery or a standard power source, the idea is to harness ambient radio waves, convert them into direct current, and fuel the vehicle continuously. If proven at mass scale, such a model could solve the classic problem of range anxiety that has plagued electric vehicles. People wouldn't have to queue at charging stations, nor would they have to pay for expensive fuel. They could simply drive, fueled by the electromagnetic waves already surrounding us. Even if critics remain skeptical about how much energy radio waves alone can feasibly produce, It's the willingness to try something bold that sets Africa apart at this moment. Another key environmental advantage is that many new African-made cars come with multi-fuel or hybrid engines. Some are designed to run on locally available biofuels, reducing dependence on imported oil. Others incorporate advanced filters that cut down on harmful emissions, aligning with international standards. And with the arrival of micro and small solar panels that can supplement a vehicle's energy needs, powering lights, air conditioning, or entertainment systems, cars become more efficient, especially in countries blessed with abundant sunlight. Parallel to these greener strategies is the evolving sense of corporate responsibility. African automakers, particularly those run by younger teams, often treat sustainability as a core principle rather than an afterthought. Factories aim to cut waste by recycling materials or reusing leftover metals and plastics. Some go so far as to redesign supply chains to shrink shipping distances and slash the carbon footprint. The shift isn't just ethical, it's also pragmatic. More environment-friendly methods can lower production costs over time, maximize the utility of natural resources, and appeal to an expanding, environmentally conscious market. Economic and social ripple effects. The automotive upswing, featuring 30,000 daily cars manufactured across Africa, does far more than just supply vehicles to end users. It spawns massive economic and social gains that ripple through African societies in profound ways. Foremost among these is job creation. Car factories need operators, engineers, assembly line technicians, administrative staff, shipping coordinators, accountants, and a host of other roles. Each position is a livelihood for a person, and often a family, who then invests earnings back into local businesses, from grocery stores to clothing shops. Thus, a single automotive plant can kickstart an entire local economy, especially in places that once struggled with limited opportunity. Beyond direct employment, auto-producing nations often see a surge in related small businesses. These can be parts suppliers, like metal fabricators, tire manufacturers, and electronics assembly shops, or service providers including design studios, marketing agencies, and truck transport operators. As production lines across the continent grow, more small businesses get the chance to feed critical components into the supply chain. This fosters an environment of entrepreneurial hustle where service providers specialize in painting, upholstery, or custom additions. Over time, those specialized crafts can reach international standards, and businesses can begin exporting their offerings beyond Africa's borders. On the social front, families with stable, better-paying manufacturing jobs can afford healthcare, schooling, and improved housing. This, in turn, raises a community's overall well-being. A father or mother who works in a car factory is far more likely to send their children for higher education, fueling the next generation with stronger skills and ambition. Over time, entire towns around automotive hubs transform into bustling centers of commerce, complete with restaurants, shops, cultural spaces, and broader municipal improvements, new roads, better lighting, and more reliable water systems. By placing production facilities in different regions, African governments and investors also help address the historic concentration of industry in a few big cities. With automotive plants popping up in more remote or often overlooked provinces, rural communities get to share in the benefits. This can slow or even reverse the flow of people migrating to crowded urban areas in search of work. Those who choose to stay in or near their hometowns can carve out a decent living in the automotive sector, all while helping to preserve rural culture and family networks. Furthermore, Africa's large population includes a deep pool of skilled, motivated youth. By securing hands-on experience in assembly lines or automotive design labs, these individuals can eventually become innovators in their own right. Some might specialize in advanced manufacturing techniques, while others take an interest in vehicle electrification or battery research, potentially leading to startups and new breakthroughs. This cyclical pattern fosters a robust, well-decentralized ecosystem of automotive production and design. In short, the benefits accumulate over time, pushing African societies into higher living standards and greater self-reliance. Overcoming challenges and looking ahead. While Africa's capacity to produce 30,000 cars a day is indisputably impressive, it isn't a seamless journey free from hurdles. Supply chain disruptions, inconsistent power supplies, and dependence on expensive imports for certain specialized components are all common obstacles. Some automotive plants in Africa might sometimes need to import high-tech chips or advanced tooling machines from overseas, leading to long shipping times and inflated costs. Likewise, insufficient infrastructure in certain regions, think older ports, roads with large potholes, or unstable internet connectivity, means that shipping in raw materials or exporting finished vehicles can remain a daunting task. Another challenge is bridging the gap between optimistic policy goals and the realities of daily practice. Governments might promise to help local automotive industries, but the actual regulatory environment can become complicated. Slow bureaucracy, high customs duties for specific parts, or complex licensing procedures might delay expansions. At the same time, ensuring that new factories meet universal safety standards can be complicated in countries that lacked a deep automotive tradition. Skepticism from the scientific community